Over 2,000 years ago, 12 men were chosen by Jesus of Nazareth for an extraordinary mission. Known as the 12 disciples, they left everything behind to spread a message of love and hope. But what happened to them after Jesus' crucifixion? These disciples were pivotal in the founding of Christianity, witnessing Jesus' miracles and teachings. Names like Peter, John, and Matthew resonate throughout history. However, they faced severe persecution from the Roman Empire and religious leaders. In this video, we'll explore the fascinating and tragic stories of how each of the 12 disciples met their ultimate fate. From early persecutions to documented and legendary deaths, each account showcases the dedication and courage of these men. Prepare for a journey through history, discovering how these men became martyrs and heroes of the faith. Welcome to this exploration of the final hours of the 12 disciples. Now, let's delve into the fascinating stories of Jesus' 12 disciples. If you know any trivia or stories about any of them, share in the comments below. Let's uncover more about these men who left a lasting legacy. After Jesus' ascension, the disciples faced a hostile world. Early persecutions against Christians began almost immediately. The Roman Empire, wary of any threat to its power, viewed the growth of Christianity with suspicion. Additionally, local religious leaders considered Jesus' teachings heretical, intensifying the hostility. Peter, one of the prominent leaders among the disciples, was arrested multiple times for preaching Jesus' message. Eventually, he was crucified in Rome, but according to tradition, he requested to be crucified upside down, feeling unworthy to die in the same manner as his master. James, brother of John, was the first of the apostles to be martyred. He was beheaded by order of King Herod Agrippa I in an attempt to please the Jews and curb the growing Christian influence. James's death marked the beginning of a series of violent executions. Andrew, Peter's brother, also met a tragic end. He was crucified in the city of Patras, Greece. Tradition holds that he was bound to an X-shaped cross, now known as the St. Andrew's Cross. Even in his final moments, he continued to preach to those present. Meanwhile, Philip was hanged in Hierapolis, Turkey. His death was a testament to his dedication, as he never ceased to spread Jesus' message, even in the face of imminent death. These early persecutions not only tested the disciples' faith, but also strengthened the resolve of early Christians. The courage shown by the disciples during these dark times inspired many to follow the path of Christianity, despite the dangers it posed. In addition to the early persecutions, some deaths of the disciples were well documented and widely accepted by Christian tradition. Peter, as mentioned, was crucified in Rome. His steadfast leadership and preaching were crucial to the early Christian community, making his execution a severe blow to Jesus' followers. Paul, though not one of the original 12 disciples, played a crucial role in Christianity's expansion. He was beheaded in Rome during Nero's reign, after years of imprisonment and persecution. His tireless missionary work and epistles were vital in spreading the Christian faith. James the Greater, John's brother, and one of Jesus' closest associates, was also martyred. He was killed by order of Herod Agrippa I, becoming the first of the apostles to be martyred. His death is one of the few directly recorded in the New Testament, showing the intensity of persecution from the outset. John, unlike his counterparts, had a different fate. He was exiled to the island of Patmos, where it's believed he wrote the book of Revelation. John is the only disciple said to have died of natural causes, living to an old age and continuing to spread Jesus' message until the end of his life. Another example is Thomas, known for his initial disbelief in Jesus' resurrection. He traveled to India, where he preached the gospel and established a Christian community. Tradition holds that he was martyred near Chennai, pierced by local soldiers' spears. These documented deaths illustrate the disciples' commitment. They faced constant dangers and often paid the ultimate price for their faith. How each of them lived and died illustrates the depth of their conviction and the strength of the movement they helped build. In addition to the well-documented deaths, there are also legendary accounts and traditions about the deaths of some disciples that, while lacking solid historical evidence, are valued by the Christian community as testimonies of the early followers' courage and sacrifice. Bartholomew, also known as Nathaniel, is often mentioned as having been martyred in Armenia, where he was skinned alive for preaching the gospel. This tradition highlights the brutality faced by early Christians. Matthew, the former tax collector, is said to have been martyred in either Ethiopia or Persia, depending on sources. His death is usually described as occurring during a Eucharist celebration, when he was stabbed by opponents of Christianity. Simon, known as the Zealot, is traditionally described as having preached in Persia and being killed by order of the local king. Tradition says he was sawn in half, demonstrating the violence many of the disciples faced. Thomas, in addition to his activities in India, is also revered in Syriac tradition as having been martyred in Persia, where he was pierced with spears. These traditions reflect Christianity's spread beyond known borders at the time, as well as the disciples' tenacity in spreading their faith. Jude Thaddeus, though one of the less mentioned disciples in the Gospels, is traditionally described as having preached in Mesopotamia and being martyred for his faith, possibly by stoning. These legendary and traditional stories, while not supported by detailed historical evidence, are cherished by the Christian community as testimonies of the early followers' courage and sacrifice. The legacy of Jesus' 12 disciples transcends their deaths. Their lives and sacrifices not only established the foundations of Christianity, but also inspired generations of believers around the world. The courage shown by these men in the face of persecution and martyrdom has become an example of unwavering faith and commitment to Jesus' teachings. As we reflect on their documented and legendary deaths, we gain a better understanding of the profound impact they had on spreading the Christian message. Their stories have not only survived the test of time, but continue to resonate in millions of hearts and minds across centuries. The diversity of their life experiences and deaths reflects the universality of the Christian faith, which crosses geographical and cultural boundaries. Each disciple uniquely contributed to the early church's expansion, facing challenges with bravery and resilience. Today, the legacy of Jesus' 12 disciples is celebrated not only in church history, but also as a powerful testament to perseverance and conviction. Their lives serve as a reminder that faith can move mountains and transform lives, inspiring people of all ages and backgrounds to follow in Jesus' footsteps. May the stories of Jesus' 12 disciples inspire us to live with courage, compassion, and dedication to faith, honoring the sacrifices of those who came before us and paved the way for our own spiritual journey. I hope you've enjoyed learning more about Jesus' 12 disciples. For more fascinating stories like this, be sure to explore other videos on our channel. And if you're not already subscribed, don't forget to subscribe to stay updated with all our latest content. Until the next historical journey.